Now we're recording. Yeah, so along with that, a couple different Zoom tips for you as we move forward. One is that you can use the chat function. If you just hover over your screen, you'll see that there's a little icon that says chat with a thought bubble above it. And you can click on that, and that will bring up the Zoom group chat box. And you can type little thoughts or questions in that at any time. I'll just send out a little hi right there to get things going. And if, you know, as we talk about different birds, if you have a thought or something, you can put it in there, and I'll check the chat room kind of periodically as we move forward. Giving the presentation and trying to check the chat room at the same time sometimes can be a little tricky, but definitely possible. Just be patient and we'll get to your questions for sure. But another way to ask a question, if you have one, is right next to that little chat icon. There should be an icon that says participants, and you can click on participants and it'll bring up the whole list of everyone that's in the Zoom. And then underneath the list of people that are in the Zoom, it'll say three things. It'll say invite, unmute me, or raise hand. And you can click on raise hand. It'll bring up a little white hand with a blue box around it. And that'll alert me that you have a question to ask. And so at an appropriate time, I'll stop talking and call on you and unmute you so that you can ask any question you might have. So those are a few things to be thinking about. As we do move forward in this, like I hope I'm not talking the whole time, that we're able to give other people a chance to do that. I know that a few of you did send in a few pictures, just a couple of you sent in some pictures, so I wanted to include those and just give you a chance to share a story or something from your experience seeing that rare bird. But yeah, so please feel free to ask questions. Stop me if you have something. You can unmute yourself. There's appropriate times to ask questions and inappropriate times, and we just got to intuitively know what that time is, and we'll go forward. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and so our presentation right here is centered around the different birds, the different rare birds that we've seen in Southeast Arizona in May. So it seems like every single month of the year here in Tucson in Southeast Arizona, we have a wide variety of really amazing species that come through here that we wouldn't normally see. Can everyone see the clay-colored thrush here? And of course, you can't. Oh yeah, Joan's got. Whoop! I clicked on that. Cool. Hey, Joan, we'll check that out too. Joan just sent me some pictures of the Arctic Tern, and we'll definitely get to Arctic Tern. But clay-colored thrush is where I want to start us off at. Now, this photo right here is by Tom Brown. He's with us today in this little class, and he just took this on Monday, on Memorial Day. But the clay-colored thrush that's been seen at Chiricahuas Cienega is really, in my opinion, by far the most craziest bird that we've had here this month in Southeast Arizona. I'm sure quite a few of you have seen this guy or gal. I don't know if it's a male or female. Honestly, I have not gone and seen the clay-colored thrush, but what I do want to show you is so I love this clay-colored thrush picture right here. It's pretty awesome. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch us over to this and go to, here's a video that my friend Chris Rohr took of the clay-colored thrush at Chiricahuas Cienega, and hopefully the sound should play through for you too. And so let's listen to it. There's one thing about seeing a clay-colored thrush, but there's another thing about listening to it. A little shaky video, but I just love listening to it. It's awesome. So Chris apologizes for the little shakiness of, let's see, of the video. Well, we don't want to do that. Go back. There we go.
In this short video, we'll show and explain all the key things you need to.
So the clay-colored thrush, one of the best ways to find those find it is really to hear it. And someone asked where Arivaca cienega was, and definitely get there. I'm going to show you. I'm going to try and show you exactly where it's at, even though I haven't been there. How's that? I think I can do that. I have a map I'm going to show you. And but first, so this clay-colored thrush, does anybody know where the best spot to see clay-colored thrush is? Or what? Didn't want to do that. You can put it in your chat, in the chat. Where would you go to see a clay-colored thrush if not at Arivaca cienega? Yeah, thank you, Judy. Costa Rica, right? So it's actually the national bird of Costa Rica. And one reason I haven't gone to go see the clay-colored thrush is I did just get back from Costa Rica in March. And my son, who's usually pushing me to go see these rare birds and drive hundreds of miles to go see it, even he was like, we just saw a whole bunch of those all over Costa Rica, and he just got a whole bunch of pictures of them. So we've been dragging our feet to go see this one south of Tucson. But it is a national bird of Costa Rica, not so much because of its, it's not colorful like a resplendent quetzal, but it definitely has a beautiful song, and they're everywhere down there. So here's a range map. I think you should be able to see that kind of on the right side of the screen, but you can see Costa Rica's down here, and where the purple is really dark, that's where they're most common. That's where most of the eBird sightings have been. You can see they come up into South Texas. If you go to Santa Ana Wildlife Refuge or Benson Rio Grande or anywhere along the Rio Grande Valley here in Texas, they're fairly common there, and you're good to go. But as you can see here in Arizona, it's just this one little spot right where that little hand is at right there. That is the first record ever for Arizona. And let's see, here's the Arivaca cienega hotspot. So it's still there. Some of these rare birds that we're going to be looking at are gone. Like, you can't chase them. They're gone. You're not going to be able. We're going to talk about Arctic Tern next. You can't go over to Canoa Ranch and look for the Arctic Tern. It's gone. It's probably in the Arctic by now. But clay-colored thrush right here. I'm going to scroll back so you can see this in its entirety. Over here, you have Green Valley. Most people know where Green Valley is at. Tucson's up further. You drive down the interstate, and you take this Amato exit. When you take the Amato exit, you might as well just go over to the other side real quick and go over to this Amato wastewater treatment plant. See if there's anything rare there. And then you take this somewhat nice paved road that goes down to Arivaca. You'll go through a little border control spot right there. And this road will seem like it takes forever, and it does. And you'll eventually get to the little town of Arivaca, but right before you get there, there'll be a little parking area right here. And this is Arivaca cienega, part of the Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. And you'll see it, there's a little parking area right here. And Tom, this is where you can correct me, or someone else, if you've seen a lot of you have seen the clay-colored thrush, you should be giving this. But you'd park here, and then I believe where it's been seen is right where the trail winds off as you come down here, almost right where the marker's at. But this grove of like willow trees right here. Tom, is that true? Or someone else, is that true?
Yeah, Luke, it's we actually heard it in the parking lot when I first got there.
You heard it in the parking lot?
Yeah, but then when I walk down the trail, you'll come to where there's a small wet area. They call it the old pond, and there's a man-made like a boardwalk, a little observation area, And that's where the bird is pretty consistent there's a willow and cottonwood right in there, and that's where it's been consistently seen.
There we go. Straight from the expert. And Joan also mentions that too in the chat. Thank you to both of you for helping me out there. I apologize, I haven't got to see it yet. Now I feel bad. I need to get down there. Maybe Saturday, huh? But yeah, so this is really an amazing bird. Never been, well, I think that there has been one other sighting of a clay-colored thrush in Arizona. It was actually in the little town of Portal on the east slope of the Chiricahuas Mountains back in 2015. But it was the Arizona Rare Bird Committee, whoever's in charge of deciding whether something is counted or not, they decided not to count it because they thought it might have been an escape bird. They questioned its provenance, so they didn't count it. So now what I've been hearing is that they're going to go back and revisit that sighting in 2015 from Portal and probably accept that, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, that's a pretty cool bird to find here right in Arizona. And but maybe close to that is this Arctic Tern right here. So Leslie, I think is on with us. Leslie, if you're on right now, you can unmute yourself. You took this picture right here.
Okay.
Are you with us, Leslie?
Muted. Yeah.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a quick story of when you went and saw this at Canoa Ranch?
Sure. So I live very close to Canoa Ranch, so I always keep an eye out on a listserv. I think it's Arizona, New Mexico bird listserv, and there's often up to the minute reports of things that I could. So someone was reporting this tern, and so I jumped in the car and went down there, and there were a lot of people. There were probably 50 people there, but they were all socially distancing and whatnot. And that was a beautiful sight to see, for sure.
Oh, that's great, Leslie.
Yeah.
And I'll be sure at the end of this talk, I'm going to show you all how you can get signed up for that Arizona. It's a Arizona, New Mexico listserv for bird sightings. That's through American Birding Association, I believe. But I'll show you that site where you can get signed up for that if you want. But this Arctic Tern is actually it's the 7th record ever for Arizona, but the first to ever have photographic evidence. So Leslie added to the photographic evidence here on May 18th, and then I added to it on May 19th, not at Canoa Ranch, but at Christopher Columbus Park. So this is what was so interesting about this bird, is that everyone thought it would probably be a one-day wonder at Canoa Ranch, and amazingly, it stayed the whole day. Kind of went back and forth a few times. That was on May 18th, and then the next morning, a bunch of people went back down to Canoa Ranch to try and find the Arctic Tern. Couldn't find it. Some of them came back up to Tucson and looked at some of the ponds up here. And Bob Perna, one of our volunteers out at who works at the Patton Center, he went to Columbus Park and found this Arctic Tern, and assuming that it's the same one that was at Canoa Ranch. And I know Sarah Ramsey, who's on the talk with us right now, she also saw it at Christopher Columbus Park on May 19th. There's probably one of the most, as Tom points out, one of the most photographed Arctic Terns ever. It's just really amazing to have this seabird that travels from the far southern latitudes all the way up to the northern latitudes in the Arctic. They usually migrate far out in the ocean, but this one came in, and I'll show you something that's pretty amazing. I was doing some research on this and came across this. Okay, so here's all the sightings here, I'll pull out a little bit. These are sightings of Arctic Tern year round, all years. You can see there's a couple that had been out in New Mexico or West Texas for some reason. Looks like there was one up here in Arizona that was at some point, but this is all years. So as we scroll in here, it looked like it disappeared. There we go. So here's our Arctic Tern from this year, May 19th. And we have all the, has some, it's a lot of sightings right there. That's just eBird. That doesn't count people who don't eBird. That's a lot. And then I noticed, oh, there's, someone saw an Arctic Tern just north some other year. So I clicked on it and checked this out. This is May 18th, but 1982 at the Ina Road Pond. So the same day, what is that? That's 38 years ago. The same day, 38 years ago, there was an Arctic Tern that actually, if you look at the notes on this one, see date, there's another little one here. Oh, well, anyways, you'll see the notes. It says that it was found by Ken Kaufman at the Ina Road Ponds, May 18th, 1982. So it's just really interesting, and this is something to think about when we are mindful of what rare birds to be looking for and when, is that birds tend to come through at about the same time. Maybe not every year, but you know, it's that time frame. So I don't know, that just really blew my mind to know that 38 years ago an Arctic Tern came through at the exact same time. I don't think Arctic Terns live that long, so I don't think it's the same one, but yeah, just really interesting. And what some folks were talking about as far as why the Arctic Tern might have came through is that there must have been some sort of weather disturbance out in here that kind of pushed it up. And about the same time frame, there were some American white pelicans that were seen, like a huge flock of over 100. And then also another bird that showed up was elegant tern. So elegant tern is a rare one for Arizona, but what made this occurrence of elegant terns this year something extraordinary was that you see right here there's 12 of them. So never before had there been more than 1 or 2 elegant terns in Arizona at a time. But Nancy and Rich at Canoa Ranch, when they're looking for the Arctic Tern, they came across a group of 12 of them. Same time frame, along with the American white pelican, and there's a magnificent frigate bird that also came through on that same day. So there must have been some sort of weather phenomenon going on out in the ocean that brings these in. So, you know, when you hear of tropical storms out in the Gulf of California or anything like that, that's a good time to be thinking, oh, I should probably be going out and looking for rare birds if that's what you want to do. So there's just something to think about. I'm going to switch over. So enough about seabirds. We want, seabirds are good, but we live in Southeast Arizona and we want something a little bit more exotic, maybe. Oh, Russ asked, what was the temperature that day? And if they're able to handle the heat of the desert well. I would say they probably have a hard time. People did see the Arctic Tern catching some fish at Christopher Columbus, so that probably helped. But you know, a lot of these seabirds that come through, like especially if there's a tropical storm or a hurricane that blows like tube noses in, like storm petrels or albatross or anything like that, those birds usually don't fare very well. They usually do die. I know that years ago we had this huge storm push in a bunch of tube noses, and a lot of them did die from their lack of food resources out here. All right, so like I said, these are good, but I want something more like tropical. And so Berylline hummingbird, in my mind, that's a real Southeast Arizona rarity. Like, it's one that people come here for. And so actually this Berylline hummingbird, again, this is a photograph that Tom Brown let me use. And actually I was there with him when he saw this little guy on Monday. What I love best about these pictures, one, he's really sleepy looking, so like maybe he's going to stick around for a while. He's just kind of dozing there, and then now he's got his eye open. But just such this green lime color that comes up on his face. And so this bird right here at Santa Rita Lodge is definitely a chaseable bird. It's been sticking around for a little while. It was first actually found in April, so I'm fudging a bit here. It was found April 25th, but it's been sticking around all May, and a lot of people are going to check it out. And how many? So if you've seen the Berylline hummingbird, you can maybe use one of those icons to like show like a thumbs up or a clapping or something like that. So I know a lot of you have probably gone to see this, but if you haven't seen it yet, I want to show you where to look for it. So the interesting thing about Berylline hummingbird is that there weren't any sightings in Southeast Arizona last year for Berylline hummingbird. Let's see if I had it pulled up here. Oh, here we go. So yeah, so no sightings of Berylline last year, and so this year this little guy's been hanging around for a while. So this is Madera Canyon. If you scroll out, you can see all that. This is Google Maps. Pretty easy to just type in Google Map and find the Santa Rita Lodge in between the Madera Canyon picnic area and the amphitheater. You won't be able to miss it. Many of you have been there. But if you haven't yet, I'm going to show you. So I lucked into seeing Tom there on Monday when he took that picture. And if I hadn't seen him, I wouldn't have known which feeder to look at. It's kind of interesting to know how hummingbirds get attracted to one specific feeder. And it does seem like for the Berylline, this has been true. So right here, you have the parking area. This is the road that goes up. You have a parking area here. You have the gift shop right here where you can get your ice cream while you're looking for the Berylline hummingbird. And then right here, we have some benches, and then the hummingbird feeders are right along here. So the very last hummingbird feeder next to the very last picnic bench, furthest away from the visitor center, is the one that it's been coming to. And so actually when I saw it, it wasn't even at the feeder. It was hunkered down in a little bush just below the feeder, just above the level of the little fence that's right through there. So look over on this section right here if you're checking out for Berylline hummingbird. It'll really stand out. As I was told while I was looking for it, just look for the lime green, it'll pop. So it definitely does. And one thing that you'll note is that broad-billed hummingbird will have kind of a greenish purplish body too, and other female hummingbirds will have a green body. But the big thing with this one is that it's got an all green head, green breast, green back, and just has a dark bill. So you can be checking that out right there. What time would be the best to see the hummingbird? That's a good question. So from what I've heard, like in the evening or the morning is best, but actually Tom and I were there, must have been what, 1:30 or 2 o'clock, or I can't remember exactly what time it was, but it was kind of early afternoon. And so I'm thinking that maybe some of the times it's not seen during the afternoon or late morning. It might just be resting in the shade of one of those bushes. So I would say probably any time you could go there, and nothing's guaranteed no matter what time. So yeah, is it a male or female? I do believe it's a male. Sarah agrees with me. That's a good. I should have known the answer to that question. I'll go with male since that's what Sarah says. All right. Berylline hummingbird. Oh, someone else just chatted. Maybe it's someone else. Tom says that being consistent, the feet are very late in the day, just before dark. What's funny is that the day that it was found, that reminds me, the day it was found, my son and I were doing a big day for Tucson Audubon's Birdathon, and we had gone to Madera Canyon early afternoon, and we were at Santa Rita Lodge. We didn't see this guy. We went from there over to Florida, got done with Florida with maybe about half an hour to an hour of light left, and we were trying to figure out what to do. We almost went back up and went to the Santa Rita Lodge to end our day. We decided not to because we were too tired, but if we had, we would have been there when this thing was first found. So one way to find rare birds, just keep birding. One way to not see rare birds, stop birding. That's just how it goes. Okay, so this is a really amazing, the reason I decided to put together this presentation is this May has just been incredible with the rare birds that have been seen around here. Crescent-chested Warbler. That's what this guy is. This is a picture taken by my friend Mike Welch. He's one of our volunteer field trip leaders, both throughout the year and then also at our festival. But he went to go see this Crescent-chested Warbler that's in the Chiricahuas Mountains, and got this really cool picture of it fanning its tail. So the last time that Crescent-chested Warbler had been reported in Arizona was in 2013. So this is a bird that's normally found in Mexico that just doesn't come up here very often, kind of like a eared quetzal or like brown-backed solitaire or like Aztec thrush. So it's one of these Mexican species that just won't come out, won't show up in Arizona for years and years, and then all of a sudden they come. And what's interesting is back in 2013, there was a report in Miller Canyon and a report in South Fork Cave Creek. This year, not only have they been found in the Chiricahuas in a couple different places, but also there was a report of one with a picture in Yavapai County at, I think it was Granite Basin Lake or something like that. So it seems like whenever Crescent-chested Warblers do come up in Arizona, there's a good chance for other Crescent-chested Warblers to show up too. There must be some sort of movement that they do, or some sort of food resource that's either plentiful or maybe not plentiful where they normally breed, which makes them move just during different years. And so that seems to have been the case this year as well. So what's been really neat about these Crescent-chested Warblers on the west slopes of the Chiricahuas is that they've also started nesting there. So let me show you where in the Chiricahuas these are being seen and a little bit more about Crescent-chested Warblers. Let's go back here, get away from the Santa Rita Lodge, and let's go to, all right, well, I don't want to show that to you yet. Let's first go to this. I'll show it to you first. So I told you that these Crescent-chested Warblers have been nesting. This is the Morse Canyon Trail. I'll show you real soon where you can go to access Morse Canyon. But so they have been known that they've been seen nesting there. Here are some pictures from, this is a birder, her name's Laura Keene. She did a big year a couple of years ago, photographic big year. These are just birds off of Free Bird that you can see like the little white eye stripe right here. And of course there's the crescent on the chest. There's him singing. That's a beautiful photo. Man, she's just amazing when it comes to those photos. She sat there and watched these Crescent-chested Warblers for a little while, and then noticed that there are some Mexican jays around the nest. Oh no, what's going to happen? And she noticed that the Mexican jays, one of them picked something up it dropped to the ground. The Mexican jay went and picked it up, and she got a decent picture of this Mexican jay with something in its mouth. What was it? So if you don't like seeing dead little birds, you can close your eyes for a second. But here's Mexican jay with a baby Crescent-chested Warbler in its mouth. Is that not the most amazing thing? Kind of sad thing that you've seen today. I can't believe that she got these pictures. Just unbelievable, really. Yeah, it really is nature's way. Judy mentions that she had Crescent-chested Warblers all around her. Maybe there's even up to 5 of them. I've heard some of the same thing. They've had a hard time figuring out how many warblers are actually up there, and not just in Morse Canyon, but also there's one seen in Rucker Canyon. I'm going to take us to the hotspot map here. Tom had 3 while he was there. So I'm going on Tuesday to go see these. Here's another one. Many of you have seen these birds already, and I haven't seen them yet. But I'm going there on Tuesday. And here's the Morse Canyon Trail little spot right here. So as you can see, I'm going to pull out here. This is the west slopes of the Chiricahuas. Many of us, when we go to the Chiricahuas, we go over to the east side and access through Portal, which is why there's so many more hot spots over there. Very few people actually bird the west slopes. We're sure glad that someone did this time around. So up here, you have Wilcox, and you head out of Wilcox. You stop at the lake first to check to see if there's anything rare, and then come down 186, and you'll come actually all the way down. This is the spot right here. But you can type in on your Google Maps. You can type in Sycamore Canyon or Pole Bridge Canyon. This is East Turkey Creek Road. And I believe there's boy, I could be totally wrong. Someone who's been there, let me know, but I believe you can park at the end of East Turkey Creek Road. And people have seen them right in here. Right, people have told me that they get out of their car when they park, and they're just right there. So this is an area that really is underbirded, and we'd be served better to explore it. Thanks, Judy, for proving me right. That is right there, right at that parking spot. So as I said, Crescent-chested Warbler is yeah, I don't know how many reports have been made throughout the years, but nothing since 2013, which 2013 kind of sounds like it's recent, but actually it's 7 years ago. So that's quite a while. Now, one thing I said is that when you go to see this Crescent-chested Warbler, stop here at Wilcox at Cochise Lakes. So I'll give you a few reasons why. First, let me go back over here. So here's a glossy ibis that Dave Stetskill found. This is a photo by my friend Chris Rohr. But Dave Stetskill found a glossy ibis there. I believe while he was on his way to go see the Crescent-chested Warbler. And now glossy ibis is a really tricky one. There's been Gary Rosenberg, who's a very well-known birder here in Arizona. He was saying that there's been about 20-something records of glossy ibis throughout the years. This is a tricky one. So one thing that I would say when you're out looking for rare birds, I'm going to give a few tips here about looking for rare birds. This glossy ibis kind of made me think of these. Let's see if I can get to my next slide here. Okay. So here's some tips for finding a rarity. some of these are straightforward, others they just are what they are. But so here's what I would tell someone if they want to find a rarity is go birding a lot. I suppose if you're retired, you have the luxury of doing that more often, but that's okay. That's your luxury. That's good. So go birding a lot. But here's a better tip: is bird in the right places in the right seasons. So, you know, when we're thinking about when the Arctic Tern came through, when the magnificent frigate bird, the elegant terns, think about weather patterns. Learn the weather patterns. Learn what kind of rarities might be seen in different seasons. So if it's May, you're going to be going to different places to look for rarities than if it was in January. So normally you wouldn't be going up in the mountains to find rarities. You wouldn't be going into places like Turkey Creek, Morse Canyon, to find a rarity in January, but you definitely go there to look for something like a Crescent-chested Warbler in May. And also know migration. So during spring migration and fall migration, those really are the best times for rarities. You'll see September, August, a lot of weird things coming through, and also April and May especially. June tends to slow down a little bit just because there is no migration going on. Russ, I would talk a little bit more about weather patterns. I'm afraid I'm not the best for that. I know just kind of like the basic level. So like if there's a tropical storm, especially in August or September, head for any sort of big water body, whether it's Cochise Lake or Patagonia Lake or Arivaca Lake, and you have, or wastewater treatment ponds like Amado or Canoe Ranch. Like you want to hit those water spots in August, September when there's some sort of tropical storm moving things up. And then the other weather patterns, maybe that's a good one to bring someone else in and to talk more about it in more detail. I'm afraid that if I start, I'll say something, but it might be wrong. So I'm going to stop myself there before I say something that's wrong. But that's something good to look into. Here's another thing to find a rarity is learn the subtle differences. Like the difference between glossy and white-faced ibis. Let me show you something from Dave Stetskill, who found that white-faced ibis that I thought was really, really interesting. If I can get there. Okay. So as you can see here, this is Dave Stetskill's list from Wednesday, May 28th at Lake Cochise. Dave, he's a stupendous birder, one of the best I know, kind of like Keith Camper and Gary Rosenberg, and man, birders like them that you just want to glean so much information from. He's a guide for a birding company called Field Guides, and so if you are interested in going birding with them, you might have to pay, but it's definitely worth it. So this is his list. You get down to glossy ibis. So here's glossy ibis, and then he's got a picture of a white-faced ibis. So let's look at the difference between these. This glossy ibis, really gray bill. The face is really gray, kind of greenish tint a little bit. Its legs, it's kind of a backlit, so it's kind of hard to see, but the whole face is pretty dark. It even says that here, actually. Note the dark face, the dark eye, pale blue, white, narrow lines border. You can't really see that from this picture, but the dark face and dark eye, that's a big thing. Gray legs, so gray. Now, I'm going to take you over to his picture of the white-faced ibis. He didn't just pay attention to the rare bird, he also paid attention to the common bird that looked like it. So here's white-faced ibis. Now check out, it's got a really red face. Look at his legs, really red legs. And he notes it. He said, note, this bird's red eye, red face, I like how he says it should be really called the red-faced ibis. Bright red legs. So to find rare birds, you look closely at the rare ones and the common ones, and that helps you to find the one that sticks out. To be able to do that, we have to know what those subtleties are. That does mean studying your bird book a little bit. I remember doing that so much when I was a kid. I don't do it as much now. But I remember just like soaking all that in when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. But we can still do that as we get older and still retain a lot of that. And even if we don't retain it, we can carry our book with us and just look for those subtle differences. That's really one way to find those rare birds. And that means taking your time with all the birds. And I think most of you would agree with me. Most of all, be lucky. All right. When Maureen Blackford was going down to Arivaca Cienega to go birding, she was not thinking clay-colored thrush. That was probably one of the furthest things from her mind. But she heard something, she saw something. She had, probably, I mean, I don't know Maureen that well, but I'm sure she knew some of the other birds outside of just what would be seen here in Southeast Arizona. And she got lucky. But sometimes the luck and learning and knowing subtle differences, being in the right place in the right seasons during spring migration and going out birding a lot, you combine those together, and that's where it's at. Here's something else that happened this May that was pretty interesting. These pictures right here are from Bob Bierstock. He's also I think he retired from guiding just a year or two ago, but he lives down in Hereford near Sierra Vista, and he was telling me about all of these hooded warblers that have come through Southeast Arizona this May, which is pretty interesting. So I went on to eBird and wanted to see if what he was saying was true. I wanted to fact check him, even though I trust him. But let's look at this together here. And oh, that's the white-faced ibis. We don't want that. Hooded warblers. All right, here's the hooded warbler map, and as you can see, there's a few light purple. This is the light purple means that there's sightings in those areas. So this is just May of the current year. As you go in here a little bit closer, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another one here, Agua Caliente saddle here. That's 5. And then over here, there's another one here in the Chiricahuas. That's 6. So 6 sightings of hooded warbler in May of the current year. And then, so what I want to do is I want to see if, all right, is Bob telling the truth? Was there really an invasion? So let's go to, let's change that to 2019, see what happens. It's also a little, this is eBird. This is a little eBird tutorial, how to use this. All the different things that you can do. So let's set the date range there. 1 sighting. Okay, well, let's see. Let's go to 2018. I'm just going to do this for a couple of years to show you. I mean, 1 to 5, that's a big jump. Let's look at 2018. Oh, none. So when it moves like that, you know that there are none. Well, it looks like there is 1. This doesn't count as Southeast Arizona up near Arivaca. At least it doesn't count for me. Maybe I should count it, but I'm not going to. So yeah, so it's interesting how there are different years bring different types of eastern warblers through. So I remember one year there was a lot of Tennessee warblers. Another year where there's chestnut-sided warblers. this year there was a lot of hooded warblers coming through. So I don't know what it is if maybe there's, whether it's a food resource thing, or maybe there was a good hatch from the year before and they're just, spreading through more often, or maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. I'm not really positive, but this May there was a lot of hooded warblers. That's just something to think about. And oh yeah, Kathy had a friend see a hooded warbler up in North Arizona last week. Yeah, see, they are moving through, and hooded warbler can also be a later migrant as well. So I have had, in fact, it might have been 2018 or 17 when I had a hooded warbler in Rock Corral Canyon, like the first couple days of June. Canada warbler is another one that comes through later. So, but that's also a really rare one. There was actually a couple of Canada warblers seen further north in Arizona this month. That was very interesting. There had never been more than one Canada warbler seen together in Arizona before until this year. There was two of them at one spot. Okay, and let's go back to coming up a couple more things here. Then we'll open it up to more questions from everyone. Five-striped sparrows. So here's a picture from Leslie, picture that I had from a couple of years ago. The five-striped sparrows used to be one of those birds that was like really rare, that you could only see really at California Gulch. What's interesting is that they keep on expanding their range. If this is one of those rare birds that you're still looking for, here's some information as to where and go see five-striped sparrow. I shared this before in one of my other talks, but I just thought I'd throw this in here in case someone else is still looking to go and see these five-striped sparrows. Again, they're a bird that breeds very common in Sonora, but it comes up here in only a few areas, but is really increasing. Box Canyon, here you can see where to go at Box Canyon. That mileage is almost exactly correct. Just pull over and start looking around in the agaves and bushes around there. Montosa Canyon, just past the visitor center. There's a stretch there where it's gravel and it turns back to pavement. You should see like a little spot to pull over next to a big culvert as you go up. So another thing I wanted to share, this is from Pam, and I think, Pam, are you on with us right now? If you are, I'd love for you to just share a quick story about this white-throated magpie jay. Are you with us? You can unmute yourself if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, great. Yeah, share a quick story about this white-throated magpie jay.
This was nuts. I saw a quick eBird report that said that there was this magpie jay over in Buckeye in one of the pop-up planned communities. This particular bird was hanging out with a bunch of great-tailed grackles. So, I've kind of invented this story of he got hooked in with these great-tailed grackles and decided to follow them up, and landed in Verano, Verado, which is this little planned community. It's right by, if you wanted to go see it, if you're up in the Phoenix area, it was right by the main street in this community, across from the middle school. But this guy was as happy as he could be. I wish I'd had a good camera. I just really didn't believe that he would be there. So I just had my cell phone. But yeah, there he was, and loud as can be. Louder than the great-tailed grackles. So
well, that's saying something.
Yeah, that says something. So it was no time before I found him.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Pam. Here's the thing is that you just never know when you might see something. That's the thing is that I think we all love about birding is you never know what you're going to see. It could be something different every single time, or it could be the same things too. But you know, there's always a surprise that pops up. And white-throated magpie jay. So this one is not cannibal by American Birding Association standards. It's probably an escapee, but still crazy enough to go and check out and eBird it, put it on your eBird list. That's fine with me. I think it's pretty amazing. I've actually never seen one before, so I thought I would just show you real quick where you can see white-throated magpie jays. And then also, while I'm looking this up, how come that's not coming up? White-throated magpie. There we go. Magpie jay. So here's where they're normally seen. You can see all the way down to Costa Rica. I missed it when I was in Costa Rica. Wasn't in the right spot for them. But they come all the way up, kind of stay on the Pacific slopes. You know, the dry forest coming up here. Don't they come up here too? I thought they came up here. Maybe not. Oh, this is May. I see what's going on here. Or wait, let's go to year-round, all years. There we go. Well, I guess they only come up here. Tom, would you help me out here? So I thought white-throated magpie jay came up further north.
I've seen them in Guadalajara and Mexico City, but I've never seen them any further north than that. We had one that came across over to the Baja in a storm, and eBird accepted it. But they're also a very common Mexican pet bird. I mean, I know several Mexicans that have them as pets.
I know what it is. All right, you guys help me out. So it's black-throated magpie jay.
Black-throated.
Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of, was black-throated magpie jay, not white-throated magpie jay.
Right.
All right. Well, if you want to see black-throated magpie jay, they're pretty close. And actually, what I was going to say is that this is throwing me off because I have the McKays from Silopaso are going to be doing a talk for us later in June, and they're in the Alamos area of Mexico, and where they have black-throated magpie jays. And so here's Alamos right here. You can see how dark it is. And let's see if we can get a picture of one here. Let's go black-throated magpie jay and click on it. Right there, there's black-throated magpie jay. So not a white-throated magpie jay like you can find a buckeye, but here's something that's close to it. We'll hear about those later in June. Pretty cool. Okay. Thanks for sharing that, Pam. I really appreciate it. So here's a few more rare birds that were found this May, and then we'll quickly just go into June, just for a brief look. Flame-colored tanager that we didn't get to in Miller Canyon is still being seen there. This is on the east slopes of the Huachucas. So if you've heard of Beatty's Guest Ranch, you can park right in that area and hike out the Miller Canyon Trail towards Hunter Canyon, and flame-colored tanagers out in that way. Rose-throated Picard, yes, very, very elusive. They can be hard to find. They're in nesting mode right now, but along the De Anza Trail. So if you park it at Tubac, walk north on the trail, well, from Tubac, the bridge, there's a little footbridge that takes you across a creek, and then go north on the east side of the Santa Cruz River, and look for Picards there. This frigate bird came through I-19 the same time as the Arctic Tern. Gray catbirds were everywhere, Lucifer hummingbirds. Willets came through really well in May this year. Tom had a flock of 150 or something at the Amado wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah, 148.
Okay, so 150. We just round up, right? Yeah, pretty amazing. I want to leave us with a couple thoughts for going into June. I shared one of these in a previous one. When I later in June, I'll be doing a presentation on where to go birding in July. So I'll be looking ahead to July and then share maybe a rare bird to look for in July. And so when I did it for June, I shared yellow grosbeak, which is one that we should be looking for in June. They come through fairly well through there. Yellow grosbeak hasn't been seen in a while. It'd be like a crescent-chested warbler type, but when they do show up, they show up in June. The other one, and here, this is Judy's picture right here, Groove-billed Annie. So she didn't take this picture in June, but as I was looking at different birds that I was thinking of that might be rare birds to look for in June, for some reason, Groove-billed Annie came up in a lot of the different things I was looking at. And so I was like, I didn't really even think about Groove-billed Annie until I came across it. But what I want to show you, check this out. This really made me think. Right here. Okay. So here's a Groove-billed Annie map from eBird year-round, all years, in Southeast Arizona. Look at this one right here in Arivaca. If you can see that. June 10th, 2006. Okay, so that's just one though. Let's look at this one. Sycamore Canyon, June 26th, 1983, June 26th. How about this one at Peña Blanca Lake, June 27th, June 26th. Look at all these Junes. They're all June, all from 2012, a long time ago. Patagonia, July. I'm fudging a little bit there, but that was just last year. So you don't see any other sightings. So if you're gonna see a Groove-billed Annie in Southeast Arizona, in this section right here, you're gonna be looking in June or July. Now, if you go over a little bit here, this one right here, August, actually went and saw that one in August a couple years ago. Here's this one. This is November. Let's not look at that. Let's pretend that one doesn't exist in November. But if you're looking for Groove-billed Annie, that could be one. That could be one. So just something to put on your radar to think about that. Because who of us here was thinking Groove-billed Annie to begin with? Probably none of us. But I think it'd be amazing if one of us found a Groove-billed Annie or a yellow grosbeak, and when we posted it somewhere, we could say, hey, we had this in our mind. We were prepared for it. So, Joan asked about Vox's Swift. So they do come through. They're more noticeable in the fall. And so it's one that I would say is fairly uncommon. It comes through during migration really quick and then disappears. They don't breed through here, but they breed up in the Northwest. And so they just have these little tight windows where they come through, and then when they leave, they tend to stick around and are more noticeable in the fall though. At least that's what I would say. Oh, I was going to show you also where to go for the Arizona, New Mexico bird listserv. Let me share that with you real quick while I'm thinking about it. It shouldn't take very long. So if you just type in Arizona, New Mexico, border, bird listserv, it even shows up right there. So birding.aba.org, and you just click on that, and you'll see, oh, there's a laughing gull at Wilcox Twin Lakes right now. Arivaca black and white warbler, frigate bird, and Yuma. See, so you have all these different sightings here, and you can subscribe to the list. You just click on how do I subscribe, and then you just go to it and you click on it and you subscribe to it. So I'll put this this link in our recap email that will go out later this afternoon. That's just something to think about. Any questions before we wrap up here? Oh, Judy asked a good question. The ABA and the Black Swamp, probably Black Swamp Bird Observatory, have made strong statements against racism in the birding world. Is Tucson and Audubon going to follow suit? I would say we already have, and not just in the birding world, but in the world in general. Like, all of us need to stand up against racism. I know probably maybe all of us have seen the video that happened in Central Park a couple days ago, but not only what happened in Central Park, but that's small. That's so small compared to the atrocities that just happened yesterday and throughout all time. I mean, it's been going on. It's not new, and it's something we need to stand against. And I know Tucson Audubon has put out Facebook posts and Instagram posts already about it. That's good, but it also takes all of us as a united voice, not just to advocate for birds, but advocate for people. And that's what we all should feel very strongly about. So thanks, Judy, for bringing that up. It's something that should be on our mind all the time right now. So yes, thanks for bringing that up. Any other questions? Feel free to raise your hand, or if you have anything. Joan, I see go for it.
Yeah, I went back to look at the birding optics about the birding lenses, and it didn't seem to come up on my computer. Is it still up?
No. Oh, the birding optics recording?
Yeah.
That is not so. So I have limited cloud storage. So what happens usually, in fact, I'm probably over my cloud storage right now after recording this, so I'll have to delete something. So what happens is, before I delete it, any of these recordings, I do download them. So if you were at one of them and you want to get the recording but didn't have a chance to do that, just let me know, and I'll send you. It takes a little while to get the recording downloaded and emailed to you, so it just takes a lot of time. So it probably won't happen right away, but I can. Just email me and let me know. And if you don't get it from me in a couple days, I'm sorry. Just hound me about it again.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any idea when nature conservancy sites are opening up in Southeast Arizona? So I don't know about places like Ramsey Canyon or Patagonia Sonoda Nature Conservancy. I don't know those. I know the Patton Center for Hummingbirds to an extent. I know that the Patton Center is going to be closed through the end of June, at least. And so we're just doing a cautious reopen. We have volunteers who are going to start going there again in June, but still no visitors. It'll be closed. They're just going to be taking care of the place and getting it ready for when everyone else comes back. Any other questions? All right. Well, I'm gonna unmute us here.